had seen these stripper vlogs on YouTube and I had seen these stripper videos, so I knew she was a stripper. People are just so judgmental, so sometimes you just want to like keep stuff to yourself. I was 15 when all this was going on. Hi my pretties, welcome back to another video, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. If you're new here and don't know, we are back at it again with another story time. So grab your cups, grab your mugs, grab your glass, whatever it is that you want, and sit down because I'm about to entertain your life for a few minutes. So today's topic is going to be about the time that I worked for a stripper. Yes, this was a full-blown stripper. I was extremely nervous, extremely scared. I mean, this is gonna be a story with a twist, so you know, make sure you watch till the end. But I think this one will definitely be really, really entertaining. It was weird the way it happened. It wasn't planned out to be this way. I wasn't looking for a job, but it just happened. So if you want to see the time that I worked for a stripper, then just go ahead and keep on watching. Before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Comment down below your favorite job, whether it's in a company, whether it's a side hustle, whether it's at the club, whatever it is that you want to comment down below, because this is a judge-free zone. Remember, keep it positive, no bad vibes, and let's go ahead and get started. Give this video a big thumbs up, by the way, you know, help your girl out, and let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, so I just got myself a little bit more comfortable because I can tell that this is gonna be an interesting one. I do not judge nobody. If you work at the club, whatever you do with your body, whatever it is that you decide to do with your life, if you're trying to make money, you know, that's none of my business. I don't judge nobody. So make sure you take that into consideration, because even though my story is a little different, for the people out there who are like genuine strippers, 9 to 5 every single day of the week, you know, and they've kept this job for a long time, I mean, you do you, boo. You making a bag, and that's on you. There was this little plaza. In the plaza, there's actually a Publix, which is the Publix I work at. By the way, if you were trying to get a job there, if you want a legit job, 9 to 5, you know, 5 days a week, I'm gonna go ahead and leave the links up here. They'll be at the end of the video. Make sure to check those videos out, because I help y'all to get a job there, because it's honestly like a really, really good company. So make sure y'all check that out. But anyways, in that plaza, there is a little Publix, there is a nail salon, China One, there's a dry cleaners, there's a City Crab. So there's a few, you know, little shady businesses, and it's popping over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've done a few videos on this. I did like a We Met Celebrities in that plaza video. So, you know, it's a popping plaza, okay? And there's a little nail salon right next to my Publix. So I used to go there a lot. I mean, before I started doing my own nails and started going to like a different lady, if I didn't want to do my nails, I would go to that plaza and get my nails done, simply because it was just like so close to my house. The prices were good. It was a nice salon. I obviously ended up moving salons later on in the future, and then I proceeded to just doing my own nails. But back then, that was the spot. So I would go there to get my nails done. Everyone around my neighborhood, we kind of like went over there because it was just like a good spot, you know. It was like affordable pricing, and they did a good job, so we was always like over there. So I went with my homegirl to the nail salon. We was getting our nails done. We were sitting down getting our toes done, because you know, you always gotta have nice toes. If you don't have nice toes, then you always gotta have nice toes. So me and my homegirl, we was getting our toes done, and so is the lady next to us. And she starts talking to me like, oh, you know, your bag is so pretty, or your, you know, nails are so pretty. I don't know what she said. And I start talking to her. It was one of those days where I was just feeling extremely confident, because one thing with me is I be having my days. Even though I do consider myself a very confident person, I have my days where I just feel more enclosed. I'm more to myself. I'm kind of like sad, and I just don't feel like, you know, talking, because I might be feeling insecure. I might be feeling ugly. It happens. It happens to a lot of females. I know I can't be the only one. But that day was one of those days where I was just feeling like I am the shit, okay? And obviously that shows you that when you're confident, confidence is key, because you start meeting a lot of people when you're confident. This lady's talking to me, and I'm talking to her right back. Like, I'm giving her the same energy. Her energy was great. It was sweet. It was a little much. Like, she was being very friendly with me for somebody who didn't know me, because if I don't know you, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you some personal stuff. Like, I might tell you stuff because I know I can be open at times. I wouldn't say friendly, because I consider my circle to be very small. Like, for me to like fuck with you, it takes a lot. But I'm one of those people who I don't hide anything. I don't have nothing to hide. Like, what am I hiding? Okay, I already gone through everything I had to go through, and I'm just an open book. So a lot of times when people talk to me, I'll tell them about my stuff because I don't really care. But she was telling me a little too much. Like, she was telling me about her husband, she was telling me about her kid, like she was telling me everything. And I don't have kids, but I definitely know that if I had a kid or if I had a child, and I deal with kids all the time, and I'm very like limited when I share information about them. So I just know that if I had my own kid and I just met some random chick at a nail salon, and this nail salon, I'm not saying that it was shady, but it could have been a little shady. So I would not be talking about my kid to somebody else, but that's just me. I think she was doing it with the purest intentions, like, oh, this is my kid, but she kind of started telling me that he was struggling in school and stuff like that. And then I proceeded to telling her, yeah, I completely understand. Remember, I started babysitting when I was 15, and I hadn't had much experience with kids when I first ran into her in the nail salon. So she was telling me that her kid was struggling in school and stuff like that, and I proceeded to telling her that I love kids and that I had maybe babysat like one kid before, but I was just getting into it. Like, I didn't really have no experience, I didn't know anything. We just kind of like connected through that because she was telling me that she loved kids too. She didn't tell me what she did, she didn't tell me her job, she didn't tell me anything, and I didn't ask because I didn't really care. Like, we was just making conversation in the nail salon. We was just chatting it up. It was nothing serious. The thing with her kid did catch my attention because I was like, dang, like, she really just told me everything about her kid. And obviously, like, what am I going to do with that information? It's not that I didn't care. Like, I love kids. It was interesting to me, but that's just something that I probably wouldn't have shared with somebody else. Long story short, she ends up asking me for my number that day. She did mention that she lived around the area, and then she asked me for my number, so I was just like, oh, sure, here's my number, whatever. I gave it to her. I didn't think nothing malicious about it. Like, I was like, I doubt she'll hit me up. I probably won't hit her up, so it's just whatever. She got my number. She texted me that it was her, and I saved her contact name. I remember I put like her name and then the nail salon because I was like, I'm gonna forget who this lady is, because it was just like one of those things, like a casual person who you meet at the nail salon, and that's it. After that, she had told me towards the end when I was getting up from the chair, oh, I'm gonna call you, maybe you could tutor my son, or maybe you could babysit my son. And I was like, yeah, ha ha. And I just kind of like laughed at it and brushed it off because I was like, what are the chances of her genuinely calling me? I have no experience with kids. I'm not, you know, the best student at school. So I was like, I highly doubt she's gonna call me. I think she was just saying it to be funny, to be nice. Maybe as like an excuse for me and her to like link up, meet up or something like that. Because I definitely got the vibes that she was one of those females who was a little older, but she was trying to, you know, feel young. I mean, it's all an age. Like, I'm not trying to say that she was old or young. Like, it's all about how you feel, and definitely you could tell that she felt young. She wasn't 35, she was more like 45, but she wanted to feel like she was like 20 something. All right, so that's just like so you guys could get a feel for it. But I didn't really care. I was just like, yeah, haha, whatever, and that's it. We left it at that. I left the salon that day and I was just chilling. I told my homegirl about it because I don't think she really heard what had happened, so I told her about it in the car. I was like, you know, she said she gonna call me, and she said that she gonna call me to take care of her kid. Remember, at that point in my life, I didn't have a job, but I was looking to make side money. I was always hustling. All right, one thing about me is that even though I didn't have a legit job at 15 and 16, I was still hustling for money. Always had money, always. So when she said that to me, it kind of like, dang, like I felt like I had a chance to make some legit money, like something guaranteed, because anybody who knows who hustles, they know that it's not guaranteed money. Just because you sell this, sell that, does not mean that you're gonna get somebody who buys it, or that you're gonna get somebody who buys it at a price that gives you a lot of profit. So to me, this was like a really good opportunity, and I could tell this lady had money and stuff. Not that that means anything, because as I've worked more and more in my life, I've realized that sometimes the people who have the most money are also the same people who are the stingiest with their money, and they don't want to give you not even $5. And then it's the people who don't have as much money, or who really have to work for their money, who tend to, you know, give out their money a lot easier and are not as stingy with their bread. So I was just like, you know what, whatever. If she calls me, she calls me. If she doesn't, she doesn't. I was kind of like hoping she called me. So for about like the next few days after, you know, that day happened, obviously she never called me that day or the day after. It was like a week, 2 weeks. Guys, the second week, I was just like, forget it. She's not gonna call me. She doesn't need me. You know, she probably just told me that it'd be nice. But I was really holding on to that idea for about like a week, because like I said, I really wanted that opportunity. And I remember I didn't really want to be like pushy about it, but I think that I did end up texting her that week, like, hey, if you ever need anything or need help with your son or something like that, let me know. I texted her something like that week, I believe so. I'm not 100% sure, but I remember I was like, I don't want to be pushy, so I'm not going to push the issue. Like, if she doesn't message me, that's it. She was always really sweet when she messaged me. Like, she always put like a lot of hearts and like, yes, but she never like gave me, you know, like a firm, you know, schedule or firm, you know, action of me taking care of her kid or me going out with her or me nothing. So it's just kind of like a brushing off issue. So after about like 2-3 weeks, I'm just like, forget it. 1 month passed, 2 months passed, and I didn't hear from this lady. So I didn't know where she lived. I didn't know who she was. I was just like, whatever, you know, it's fine. And I proceeded to, you know, hustling and doing my stuff and whatever. At that time, I did have a boyfriend. I was with him for about like 3 years, and I remember I was just kind of like kicking it with him and like chilling with him, doing stuff with him. So my mind wasn't really so wrapped around her and work and stuff like that because I was busy with him. Now, I remember one day out of the blue, like the sky blue, my boyfriend was here at my house. And we were just like chilling, eating. I think he was eating and I was like cleaning something. I'm not sure. But we was just like chilling here at my house. And this lady texted me. And I was like, because I could see the name. And it said like her name and then it said nail salon. So I was like, what? And she messages me and she's like, hey, can you come over? Something like that. I want to talk to you, or me and my husband want to talk to you about taking care of her son. And she said his name. And I was like, this is so random. This lady is so sketchy. Like, I was scared, y'all. Like, I was scared. I don't know what it was that she said in the message, but I just got these bad vibes. Like, I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to go to the house and they're going to do something to me there. Like, I was just scared because, I don't know, I just had like a bad feeling about the situation. It was just like not adding up to me. She was like telling me how she wasn't even in love with this man. So I was like, why does she need his permission so much? Like, I was just like a sketchy situation because like I said, I'm not here telling you guys everything she told me, but she told me some stuff where I was just like, it's not adding up. Then she sends me her address, like straight out of the blue. I hadn't even answered and she sent me the address. So she knew that I was gonna come through. Like, or she thought that I was gonna come through, which I ended up coming through, but still, like, what if I had plans or if I was busy? But anyway, she sends me her address and it said it was like 2 minutes away. So this lady lived right next to me, okay? Like, not literally like the next door, but she lived about like 7 houses down from me, y'all. So it was like walking distance. And anyway, so I told my boyfriend about it and I was like, oh my gosh, like this lady just messaged me. It's just like such a weird situation. I don't know what to do, but like, dang, like what if I get a job and, you know, I can be making real money, like legit money. And my boyfriend was like, well, it's up to you, like whatever you want, but if you're gonna go, I'll go with you and, you know, make sure everything's cool. Cause I knew that if something happened, like obviously he was gonna have my back. So it was just like a lot easier going with somebody else. If I wouldn't have had him, I probably would have asked my mom or somebody else to come with me because it was not like, it was a weird situation. Oh shit, okay. Now I remember. Y'all, I forgot to completely mention this. Y'all are probably like, why did you think the situation was so weird? Y'all, when I was at the nail salon, she kept telling me that she had a pool in her house. And she was like, come over my pool anytime, bring all your friends. You can have a party at my house. She was telling me like, she even told my homegirl, I remember she told my homegirl just like, hey, I got a pool in my house. So if y'all want to come over, and my homegirl was like, yeah. And she kind of like disregarded her. But it was just so weird to me, bro, because I don't meet somebody at a grocery store and I'm like, hey, I got a pool in my house, so come whenever you want with whoever you want, and I don't even know the person. So y'all kind of get a feel for the situation. Like, I'm not trying to say she was crazy because I really don't think she was crazy. Like, I've met crazy people, but I think that, I don't know if she was trying to fit in with the young crowd or what she was, because obviously I was 15. Back then she was probably like 30 something. So I don't know if she was just trying to be around like a young generation or what she was trying to, you know, but it was definitely like weird. Oh, come over my house, and it was like 8 p.m. It was kind of late and I just felt kind of like honestly uncomfortable. And I remember I was with my boyfriend, so I was just like, you know what, I don't even know if I should go. And he was like, all right, let's just go and check it out, see what it is, whatever. So I was like, all right, bet, because what if it is a good opportunity? You know, I'm one of those people who tries to see the positive even though like there is some negative to it. So I was just like trying to weigh both of them, and I was like, but what if things go good? And then he was like, what if things go bad? And I was like, but what if things go good? So I go ahead and I went and I show up at her house. Her house, like the way it was laid out, her pool was like in the front. So you have to like walk through the pool area, which is like completely open. It's basically like walking through the backyard first, and then you walk into her house. So I walk into her house and I meet her husband. Her husband completely like, I mean, I don't know what she's attracted to, but it completely like caught me off guard. Just so you guys get like a visual image, she was like this like Colombian lady, short blonde hair, really, really curly, definitely like 100% Colombian, like the way she spoke, the way she did things, like she was Colombian. And he was like a short, I think he was like shorter than her. He was like a short Asian guy. Not that looks matter or anything, or that they define who you are, but just so you guys get a better feel, I guess what society would consider normal, it wasn't, you know, because you know how they're like, the guy is usually supposed to be taller and the guy is supposed to whatever. It was definitely one of those situations where like that wasn't the case, and it was kind of like, So anyways, I sit down in the sofa because he was like, sit down. And I was like, okay. So I sit down in the sofa and my boyfriend sits down next to me. I could tell, like, my boyfriend was like, what the hell, Patricia? Like, what the fuck? And I'm sitting down talking to them. She kind of like let him speak. She was like, all right, this is so-and-so. And she let him talk. Like, he's the one who spoke to me the whole time. And I felt almost like if she was his assistant. So it was kind of weird because she didn't really have a say. I feel like when she started talking, he would just like talk over her. So I'm like talking to him and he's telling me like, oh, my son is very smart. My son is very smart, but he needs somebody who's on top of him to do his homework. So how much you want? How much you want? And I was like, Oh, and when I walked in, y'all, I seen that everyone had their shoes off, and I didn't know if like that was a tradition in their house, stuff like that, because you know, like different cultures have different traditions. So I'm like, do I take off my shoes? Like, I was just feeling like I didn't know what to do. I sit down on the couch and I'm just like, hi, like, you know, being all shy and stuff. And he was just basically telling me that he wanted me to tutor his son, and I was like, okay, I'm up for it. And he asked me like how much I wanted. Now, I had already had an idea of like how much tutors usually charge, because all my life I had been in tutoring because I struggled a lot in school. So all my life I had been in tutoring, so I knew how much like my parents paid for me to be in tutoring. And I had an idea that me going to her house, like I didn't think she was gonna ask me to, you know, do something else. I really thought it was probably gonna be for me to tutor her son. So on my way over there, because I ended up walking over there with my boyfriend, I was thinking like, okay, how much should I ask them for? Like, I'm thinking about this. As a hustler, you always gotta know, like, you gotta price your stuff over here because they might ask for over here, and then you guys gotta go to a compromise. So like, I had already been thinking about this on my walk over there. I was like, if they ask me for how much I want, this and that, because I knew that I could handle the job. So it wasn't the job that scared me. It was like the pay, because I wasn't gonna do a risky job and dealing with a kid and dealing with a kid's life for like a really little amount of money, because I didn't even know the kid. And what if I had like a really troublesome kid, you know? So I wasn't at that point where I knew that I loved kids and this and that. So I was like, you know what? If it's something attainable and something that makes me good money, then sure, I'll do it. It was a tutoring job. It wasn't babysitting. So I know a lot of times I'm like, oh, if you don't love kids, do not babysit. This was a tutoring job. You don't have to necessarily love kids to tutor, even though I do. And I ended up like loving this little boy. But, you know, at that time I didn't really know. So I was just kind of like, oh, I charged this much. And the little boy was like hiding upstairs, so I didn't even see the little boy. I could see that he was like peeking at me, but I really couldn't see him. I could tell he probably didn't want to be tutored, because I went through the same thing. I never wanted to be tutored either. I just got hired right on the spot. They was just like, you know what, when can you start? We can make a schedule, this and that. And I was like, okay. So I came out pretty excited, and I walked home with my boyfriend afterwards, and my boyfriend was just like, it's a weird situation, Patricia, but I mean, that's on you. Like, he didn't feel comfortable. I got those same vibes. Like, I was like, there's something sketchy in this house. And I'm not gonna lie, the house just seemed sketchy. I was uncomfortable in the house, but I was like, you know, the little kid, like, what are they gonna do? Like, kidnap the kid's babysitter? Like, I'm sure that does happen, but, you know, it just didn't seem like I was gonna get hurt. It just seemed like the situation was weird, and I later found out why, but that's on them. That had nothing to do with me and the kid. So after that, I started working for, you know, the lady, and obviously I started taking care of her kid. I could tell that she would a lot of times just like maybe not allocate as much time to the kid. I could tell that the kid maybe was missing some type of attention, but I think that at the same time she was trying to figure out her life. So it was kind of like hard for her to, you know, spread herself everywhere. She said that she worked with her husband. Her husband like sold cars, but I don't know, like if it was like a dealership or what it was. As I started working for this lady, like I could tell something wasn't right, but me and her started talking more and more. I think she looked at me as like a friend. I always try to have a good connection with the parents of the kids that I take care of, simply because like I'm taking care of their kid. So I always try to make myself accessible to them, and if they ever need to talk or if they ever need anything, I always try to make myself like there for them. So that was the same energy I gave to this lady, and she then proceeded on, obviously, to like telling me that she was a stripper. She told me like, oh, I dance at night, and I already had an idea because I remember she let me into her room one day and I could see those stripper shoes. And I remember I had somebody in my family one time date a stripper, and I had seen these stripper vlogs on YouTube, and I had seen these stripper videos, so I knew she was a stripper. But obviously I can't say anything. I'm the freaking babysitter, so I'm just like, I'm the freaking tutor. So I was just like, oh, you know, I like your shoes, you know, whatever, just trying to, you know, make conversation and leave. And after that, she like told me, she was like, oh, I dance at night, I'm a stripper, this and that. So obviously it became like normal at some point, and we would just talk regular. I knew she was a stripper, so she would tell me sometimes like, hey, I gotta sleep during the day because I work tonight. But she wouldn't tell her son. Her son obviously didn't know that she was a stripper, so we both had to like keep it from him. And it was just, you know, it was a lot. There's a lot of things that went on as I started taking care of her son and started getting close to her, because that's how it is. I looked at this little kid. He was the first little kid that I ever took care of. And anyone who knows me to this day, I'm 20 years old right now. I love kids. So he was like the introduction of me loving kids and learning to love kids, and you know, trying to figure out how to handle kids, because I really didn't know. And I had a lot of leeway with her, with my boss, or whatever you want to call her, because she was more like, you know what, just give him whatever to eat. She wasn't one of those moms to be like, my son only eats grilled cheese sandwiches and, you know, specific macaroni. She was like, give him whatever, I don't care, take him to your house. And I was just like, okay. And it became more of like a babysitting rather than tutoring, and it was just like a lot. So a lot of times I had to like figure out how to do stuff myself. I didn't know how to deal with kids. I didn't know, you know, what to give kids to eat. Like, he was very much like my introduction to the passion that I ended up having for kids and the love that I ended up having for kids. Like, I'm talking about a lot of times she would be so tired from work, or she would go through her stuff, because strippers go through a lot. And a lot of times people fail to realize that. Like, a lot of times it's so easy to be like, she a stripper, she makes a big bag, and like all she gotta do is shake her butt a little bit, this, that, whatever. Like, y'all really don't understand. And she's not the only person that I've had this conversation with. I know a few, you know, girls who dance, and personally me, I've never danced. I wouldn't say that it's one of my biggest interests to do that. Like, I wouldn't say that that's my personal goal, just because I don't see that for myself. I see other things for myself, but I would never judge somebody who does see that for themselves, because I understand that, you know, every person does it for their own reasons. And sometimes the person that you're judging the most might have the most legit reason to be doing what they're doing. So I don't judge nobody simply because you don't know their story, but I never personally, like, gone to a club and worked as a stripper. Like I said, I just don't see it for myself. And I say it with a lot of assurance, because I definitely feel like strippers go through a lot more than people can tell. So a lot of times it's just easy to, you know, judge these people, and a lot of times they just go through a lot more stuff than that we can tell. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know half the things that happen there. All you know is from what you see in movies, or if you've genuinely been to the strip club like once or twice. But when you're working there like 5 days a week, you see a lot of stuff that you don't even like. Like, not all strippers do drugs. Not all strippers are like bad people. That's a lot of times like the stereotype that people put on them based on what they've seen in movies or stuff like that. But a lot of times, like, these girls just, they be going through it, and they have, just like anybody at a regular job, like at a company job, sometimes there's days where a customer will treat you like complete trash, and that happens in the strip club too. So I remember a lot of times she would come home and be like, I had the worst day today at the club, and this and that, I can't even take my son anywhere, I have to rest. And her son would be like, but what about my karate practice? And it got to the point where it was just like, you know what, Patricia, like, could you just take him to karate? And I was just like, sure. And like, one favor after the other led me to be kind of like more of a babysitter for the kid rather than just his tutor. So I did everything in one, and I definitely had no problem doing it, because I started really developing a love for this kid. Like, I would walk him home, he would be really excited to see me. And like at the karate practices, like, they would be like, oh, all the parents stand up, and all the parents would stand up, and then I would stand up because he didn't have a parent there. Like, I was the one who was there. So I had to stand up and make him feel like he has somebody, even though his parents can't really be there. The little boy and his mom were the only ones that were like always doing something. The dad was always working or doing I don't know what. So it was always kind of like her and him. So the day she was tired, she was just kind of like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know who to call and this and that. My husband's working. So I had to fill it in. So it all kind of like became more of a family, I would say. I can't say that it still is that case scenario because they ended up moving and other stuff. And if you want to see more videos like this, just let me know, because definitely this was like a long process and one of my first jobs. And I hold it deep to my heart because I went through a lot with the little boy. But it became a family, like at the time, not a family, but maybe like a friendship. I looked at the kid like if he was my son. Like this was the first little boy I ever took care of. And the mom, even though she was a stripper, and I probably didn't go around saying that to other people just because, first of all, out of respect for her, even though she didn't really care, like she wasn't ashamed at what she did, but she didn't want that many people to know. But second of all, simply because it's so easy to be like, oh, so-and-so works for a stripper. So like nobody genuinely like knows, you know, people are just so judgmental. So sometimes you just want to like keep stuff to yourself. But us three, you know, the little boy, me, and the mom, we became like, we had a close bond. A lot of times, like I planned the little birthday party for that little boy. You know what I'm saying? Like I went all out. This was like a son to me. Like I really cared for him. And you know, after a while, things got a little difficult and whatnot, and I might save that for a separate video. But overall, that's kind of like my story of me working for a stripper. I mean, a stripper was my boss, and it felt like a friendship rather than a boss. But, you know, regardless, it was still fun. She did pay me well, so I was always appreciative of that. And despite our ups and downs, I still have her, like, on social media. I'm still cool with her. Like, you know, I wish her always the best, but I did want to, like, put that out there as a little story time. And I did want to raise a little bit of awareness in the sense of like, not all strippers are these girls that you think are just partying and doing drugs and being bad people. Like a lot of times these strippers have a family or have kids or have, you know, something going on for themselves other than a pole. You know, just because you see them on the pole or because they tell you they're a stripper and you've seen what social media or what the TV portrays does not mean these ladies are bad. So I'm not trying to defend all strippers based off one scenario, because trust me, she's not the only stripper I know. But like, y'all, cut some slack. Don't be judgmental, because you never know what some of these people go through, okay? Because she went through a lot, and I'm not going to put her story out here like that, but everyone has a story. So with that being said, I'm gonna just conclude the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Comment down below your favorite part of today's stories, or if you've ever worked at a strip club, or if you just want to tell me how your day is going, whatever it is. And subscribe to my channel so we don't miss out on future videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.